From CNN, Abrego Garcia's wife responds to Trump administration publicizing civil protective order from 2021. You know, why is everybody calling him Abrego Garcia? I just realized his name is Kilmar, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
maybe they don't like that name.
I don't think
Kilmar.
so. It just doesn't sound like doesn't sound like a very Maryland man type of name, right?
I mean, Kilmore.
Kilmore,
MS-13 gang member. Anyway,
such nominal determinism every time.
Yeah. So check it out. The wife of the Maryland man. I'm gonna fix this real quick. Can I fix this? Can we?
He's gonna go in and edit it.
I gotta fix this. There we go. Maryland man. Here. So for those that are watching, you'll understand this. The wife of the terrorist. Enter. Did we get it? I fixed it. There we go. The wife of the terrorist who the U.S. government mistakenly deported to El Salvador. Okay, I'm not going to do that again. Acknowledged she had filed a civil protective order against him for 4 years ago, but said it was out of an abundance of caution, and the couple had worked through their issues. We call that Stockholm Syndrome.
No, she's just a ride or die hoe. Like El Chapo's wife. She just said she had no idea about any of the criminal activity.
I've never heard anyone more ride or die than Chapo's wife.
wife.
I don't know what you're talking about.
An abundance of caution for what, though? What was she being cautious about? Nobody wants to ask that question.
Left and right.
Exactly, right? So you're being cautious. Why did you feel like you had to be cautious? Right, that's it. Because he's beating her up with closed fists. That's why
she burnt the enchiladas. You don't understand.
That does suck. I like my enchiladas.
You're just not really stepping into his shoes and understanding.
Not understanding him, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, he's trafficking humans. He's trafficking humans, and at the same time trafficking mud on the carpet, and she's yelling at him, and then he gets physical, right?
Yeah.
That is a joke, by the way. That is not a statement of fact. Let me read more. DHS posted portions of the order on X Wednesday and described Abrego Garcia as an MS-13 gang member who is not a sympathetic figure. The Trump administration's release of the document comes as part of a renewed push to portray Abrego Garcia, who has not been charged with or convicted of any crime, is a violent and dangerous criminal and a member of MS-13. Abrego Garcia's wife and lawyers have denied he is part of a gang. Well, 2 judges said he was. In a statement to CNN, Vasquez Sura said she sought civil protective order after a disagreement with Abrego Garcia. Oh, so she was falsely accusing him of domestic violence? Because in the filing, it says domestic violence. So, okay, she's right. Abrego didn't do anything wrong. Trump, lock her up. She filed the false report.
Yeah, go after her. That's it. Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty simple.
Quote, things did not escalate and I decided not to follow through with the civil court process. We were able to work through the situation privately as a family, including by going to counseling. Our marriage only grew stronger in the years that followed. No one is perfect and no marriage is perfect. Lady, I got news for you. If you're filing domestic violence petitions, we ain't talking about whether it's imperfect. We're talking whether or not you're going to die. And, maybe the reason she's doing this is because MS-13's threatening her.
That's true.
That could be.
Yep, they're like, we want you to go out in a statement and say he's a good guy. And she's like, oh no. This, you know what's really funny is honestly, she filed an order of protection against this guy. He gets deported. She might have been very happy. Like, oh, thank God. And the reason why she ultimately doesn't follow through with the domestic violence petition is because MS-13 will come after her.
Yeah.
And so she's like, even if I win here, I lose there. Now, I think there's a possibility that MS-13 and other gangs went to the wife and said, go and say he's a good guy and say he's not in the gang or else. So now you got this woman, and I don't think it's unreasonable to say, what is the proof that when she filed the domestic violence petition, she intended not to follow through with it? When I go to a bar, in the bathrooms, you ever see the signs where it's like, are you being trafficked? And it's like, here's the hand sign you have to do. And there's some bathrooms in bars where there's like little red ribbons and the women are supposed to take them and then hand them to the bartender. And that signals the bartender to call the police because they can't speak up about things. So here's a guy that 2 judges have said is in MS-13, hanging out with MS-13 guys. His wife filed a domestic violence petition, and now all of a sudden she's going, no, actually everything's okay. I'm like, okay, well, I learned from going to a bar that sometimes people who are telling you it's fine are secretly being trafficked or under threat.
Yeah.
So thank you, CNN.
Wow.
I don't know, just speculating.
Yeah, maybe she should go into witness protection.
Yeah, I don't think you escape a gang like that. You know what I mean?
Is she a
They're
citizen?
brutal.
Yes.
They're MS-13 when I grew up on Long Island, they took over a whole town. It's Brentwood on Long Island, and they're brutal. Now Tren de Aragua makes them look like Boy Scouts. But these guys, they chop body parts, the Colombian necktie. I mean, it's bad. It's real, and they don't mess around. When you're on their list.
Wait, what is the Colombian?
When they kill someone, they pull your tongue through the throat and leave it on the body. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Really
It's
didn't know what
disgusting.
Columbia. Wow.
I had no idea what that was.
And this was something that happened. Long Island's like a nice suburban little.
What's it called when they put the tires around you? Necklacing.
Necklacing.
Okay.
Burn.
What do they do? They put it around your whole body or just your neck?
Top of the neck and then
Top of the neck. And they put gas. Jeez,
Oh my goodness.
bro, it is wild.
Those are the people the Democrats want to bring back. That guy. Now I'm not saying he did any of that. We don't know, but he was a part of that gang that routinely did those things. Like on Long Island, if some story came in the papers that said that there was a dismembered body part found in the woods, the first thing you would think was MS-13, without even thinking twice. That's the people. That's the type of person that Senator Van Hollen is down there trying to bring back. I don't know if he did any of that, but you're a part of that gang.
Just so long as Democrats are unsuccessful in their efforts, I am all for their efforts, because most of the American people look at this and say, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
They.
That's why the media is lying.
Well, yeah, the media. Of course, the media lies, but I think that nowadays most people don't watch the mainstream media. I think that they'll look to podcasts or look to other forms of news.
Yes, but that like Midas Touch and David Pakman are using the same talking points.
Yeah, but I don't know that. Is it your sense that those people that watch David Pakman could be reached? Do you believe that they? Because I feel like people that watch Pakman, people that watch Midas Touch, those people are already going to be like, whatever the Democrats say. That's
Bro, there's no middle.
There's no middle at all.
We actually have the data, and we've gone over the charts on this show. The middle is like 3% of the country at this point. Certainly it matters to a degree, of course, but that 3%, how much are actually watching the news, and that's why they're in the middle, and it's going to be like 27% of 3% actually actively pays attention.
So you're saying that there's no point in even addressing it, or there's no point in trying to...
I'm saying that we do this show to call it out every single day. We want people to share this show, and we are hoping that by exposing how they've lied, people who are in the cult might break free. But there's not like an undecided individual who's like, I'm not sure who we can talk to about this.
No, it's not about whether or not about them trying to find out who they can talk to, but it's about platforms like ours and like others trying to make sure that the narrative that the Democrats are putting out, that the truth comes out, and the average person that doesn't go out and search for this information, or even the people that do, make sure that there's the truth is out there.
I just mean that there's a large contingent in this country that are going to turn on David Pakman, and he's going to lie about every element of this story, and they're going to believe him. That was the initial point.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are still people that get their news in small bits, the kind of people that are like, not super plugged in, but they'll go and they'll watch an hour, 2 hours worth of news. You have to make sure that they have the ability to hear the actual truth of the story, which is he's not a Maryland man.
Right. I mean, the funny thing too is like, how long was he even in Maryland? Like 6 years or 7 years, something like that. So it's like the guy is, well, how old is he? Like 39 or 40? I don't even know how old he is.
I don't know.
But a tiny portion of his life is in,
something like that.
like he's a Maryland man.
Yeah.
Like
right.
where was he before this? El Salvador?
That's the attempt to kind of distract from the fact that he's illegal, right? Because you're not allowed to use that term, right? So they say he's from Maryland because that's where he was, but that's not where he's
He was
from.
resting his head here for just
Right.
a moment.
It's like I grew up in New York. I live in Tennessee, but it's like I wouldn't say that I'm from Tennessee yet. I mean, I've been there for 2 years. I grew up in New York for 31. I'm from New York. Mm-hmm. I live in Tennessee, right? And I love it. I call Tennessee's my home. I have we bought a house there. It's a great state. But where people ask where I'm from, my response is always, well, I grew up in New York. I live in Tennessee now because I spent 31 years of my life in New York and 3 years of my life in Tennessee, right? So where is this guy actually from? Well, he was in Maryland when this whole deportation happened, but he's from El Salvador, right? They can't admit that. They can't put that. They have to. It's branding. They have to brand him a Maryland man. It's anything you see in the supermarket. Yoo-hoo. They don't call it chocolate milk, right? It's chocolate drink, right? Because it's not milk, and it's a whole you have to brand him a certain way to garner that sympathy.
Yeah.
So to say that you just mistakenly deported a guy from Maryland, that sounds horrible. Yeah. But you didn't just mistakenly deport a guy from Maryland. You intentionally deported an illegal alien who belonged to a terrorist organization out of Maryland because he was a danger to the people in Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that the Trump administration had the what's it called, the press conference that they did today, and they had the evidence that shows that he's all these terrible things. But at the end of the day, that's kind of an aside because he's here illegally,
right? So immediately he's ripe for deportation. It's not like one of these things where he came, overstayed his visa, and that's a civil violation.
Yep.
He admitted, I walked across the desert for a few days and entered the country illegally in 2012.
Yep.
So on that alone, that's a crime.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.